Welcome to Studio Zervicepoint, live at Zervicepoint Summit 2019. And today we got a live audience as well. Thank you for being here today. And also thank to you out there viewing us. And also, while we're doing some shout-outs, Team Zervicepoint, all of the things we're discussing here today or looking at couldn't be done without you. So thanks for all the hard work. I'm Richard, part of this awesome gang, and also head of Team Zervicepoint. We got a fully day packed with some awesome stuff. We will kickstart with the keynote, and then we will go over to our high-level roadmap, and then we will actually say goodbye to you as viewers and spend the rest of the day with you that are here with us today. And all this in the name of how you automate your business and create a friction-free workday. Before we go into the practicalities, we will actually expand this channel to have more sessions. Some of you know that we've been doing a Zervicepoint update, we will tweak that into actually doing more of an in-depth walkthrough of specific big features that are coming out. So you can both get a full insight into what's the value of it and how you can actually use it. We can get in the feedback that you want to see more of, for instance, grouped activities that we have coming up for today. And so Zervicepoint update will be that. And then we will add another session that we call Studio Zervicepoint, where we will actually do a wrap up of what's been happening in business automation and what's also been happening from our side. So I'm looking forward to seeing you as we expand our channel here in YouTube. Some practicalities before we get started. As always, as I mentioned before, we love feedback in any form, so ask questions, both in the chat or as a comment below, or utilize our community channel in Slack. And if you don't have a question, just post an emoji, we know you're out there. If you don't have access to our community channel, here at Zervicepoint Summit, you can just fetch a Zervicepoint colleague. Otherwise, drop us a note at info@zervicepoint.com. And if you enjoyed this video and it has brought you any value, as always, we like a thumbs up. So like the video and don't forget to subscribe as well. And click the bell so you get all the notifications and know when we go live or when we upload new content. So let's get started with the keynote, where we would like to share with you what we believe in and what do we see in the world that is important, trends, and where we draw our inspiration, and also what we focus on. So let's jump in to the keynote. How much time do you actually spend at work during a day? Not only at work, but also thinking about work or working at home. Think about that for a while and try to sum up how much in average you do that. Well, I share with you how my day starts. I usually get up around 6 o'clock. This is actually me faking sleeping because, as you heard before, I got 4 kids from the ages of 7 to 12. So this is more like how I wake up. The big difference that I see is the sleeping habits of a parent of 4 kids. I never ever sleep the same night in the same bed. We do sleepovers all week long, so it's like a micro adventure for me every night. I don't know where I will sleep, and I don't know where I will wake up. So I'm typically squeezed into. It's a lot of squeezed in between my kids, and it's a lot of love, but it's also an adventure. Around 8 o'clock, I drop off the kids, and I commute via bus. So here I enter work mode. So for me, this is around 8 o'clock. I see this is where my workday more or less starts. A little bit later, I arrive at work. Done all my inboxing, perhaps rearranged or rescheduled some of the meetings, and then I enter physically at work. I have fun at work. I, of course, use Post-its. We love to be creative here. And then around 4:30 or sometimes a little bit later, I am off work, and then I commute by bus again. And my work mode more or less ends when I step off the bus. I need 8 hours of sleep, so around 10 o'clock I'm passing out and in a different bed at home. So how much time do you spend at work? When I calculate all the time I think about work or work from home or spend here, it's about 9 hours actually, in average. Let's do it like an open poll. How many of you, when you calculate, spend more than 6 hours at work, thinking at work, or being actually at work? Well, almost all of you raises your hands. Keep them raised. More than 7 hours? 8? More than 9? Oh, we got a few. Yeah. 10? Yeah. It's dropping. No one's, yeah. And that is actually average as well in the recent studies in Sweden. You spend about 8 hours at work, but that's just at work. If you're like me, I love what I do, so I actually don't have a problem with spending 15 or 30 extra minutes when I'm doing something else at work or thinking about the problems I want to solve. But it actually, when you invest and spend that amount of money, time at work, you want it to be as efficient and joyful as possible. You want it to be smooth, you want it to be hassle-free, and that's what we call friction-free workday. Actually, if you spend, most of you had between somewhere at 8 or 9 hours, if you spend that amount of work and you need at least, that's almost 40% of a day. And if you need 8 hours of sleep like me and spend 9 hours, it's more than 50% of your time being awake that you spend in some relation to work. And that's why we also believe that creating a friction-free workday isn't just something for work, it's important. It's a huge impact for us as individuals as well. And that's basically why we built Zervicepoint. We want to remove all the hassle that you have at work, boosting and creating a friction-free workday. And by that, we hope that it creates more efficient and happy people that together in an organization generates more value. That's the main reason. And it feels extra important when we spend this amount of hours at work. So let's look at the world today. Change the topic a little bit. What are the trends we see, and what do we focus on, and what will we what inspires us? What's up with the world today? Actually, I think it's an amazing time. All the breakthroughs we have in technology at the moment are awesome. You can 3D print a house today. Okay, you can't buy it, but it's actually coming, 3D printing. We got AI on the move. At least everyone is talking about it. That's going to make huge impact for us as humanity. Cloud is yesterday's news, but either you're already there or it's a big effect on your transformation in organizations today. We got self-driving cars. In the next upcoming years, we will probably don't have so many drivers out there. And we got a digital marketing that is on the edge. I don't know about your Instagram feed, but my Instagram feed is only populated with stuff I want to buy. I want to buy everything. I could probably just buy random, pick something, and it will be good. It will be something I want. And all this thanks to automation. We believe that we are in a digital evolution on steroids, and that it will be all about automation in the upcoming decade or the decades. It will be to the extent that we need to redefine ourselves both as organizations and as humans. Automation is the big thing that we believe will impact us, and we will need to figure out what we will do with all the extra time. Because we are used to having half of our time actually doing some kind of work. I personally believe that to the extent in some areas, I as an individual or as a human, I will need to redefine myself so much that it will be something totally different. I watched a documentary of where we're actually coming from as mankind. It's always been about survival. Right now, this is not the issue in a large scale in the world today. Survival isn't that big of an issue. It's still an important issue. But we actually, if you read Factfulness by Hans Rosling, we actually have the possibility in our generation, to get rid of extreme poverty. So survival isn't a big issue in the world anymore as it used to be, and it will become even better. The next step that we invented as mankind, it's not about survival anymore, we invented something called work. You need to work, otherwise you are none. My parents told me that if you don't have a job, then you're nobody. I need to get a job. So the third step in this evolution is actually, okay, I don't have to do anything to survive. I can get anything where I want. I don't have to work because everything is automated. What are we then? Something to think about late at night, or perhaps not. But automation will redefine, I personally believe that, redefine us as humans as well. So how does that come down to us today here as organizations? Yes, of course, it will do the same thing. Classic departments, such as IT, HR, finance, and similar, we need to redefine ourselves on what we will do when at least half of the time we spend is automated. Will we downsize? Or will we adapt to a new need? Or will we just keep going and perhaps ignore the change until it comes to bite us, or we prove someone they were wrong? Nothing will be automated in the way that we think. I think here, I worked in an IT department. We've been hearing that for ages. You will be outsourced, you will be automated away. But I don't think the IT department actually has the biggest challenge. I think it's the HR department. Is anyone here from an HR department? No, okay. Then it's just you viewing the. But I think not only do you have to think about what automation will do, and the paperwork is a little bit more in the HR department today. That is one challenge, what we will do. But the other is actually that organizations are a totally different entity today. So HR also need to figure out how to deal with that. And I think actually the name says it all. Human resources. We're not a machine. How many of you feel like a resource? The HR department does not only need to figure out how to deal with the automation and all the extra time, or just downsize, they also need to figure out how can they support a new breed of organizations that don't have traditional management, they are self-governed, and they are adaptive to change. And they got millennials as well. So HR has a huge challenge in this. So, what do we need to think about when it comes to business automation, if automation is going to be everything? We recently did a blog series, Top 7 to Think About in Business Automation. This is actually an open question. I want you please just to think about, what do you think? Now I already showed you one of the things, but what do you think is actually the number one thing to think about if you want to go from out to outstanding in business automation as an organization in a business area? Post your comments or drop them in our community channel. One of the areas that we see is actually that automation shouldn't be a big project. I know we are responsible as a supplier as well, because as an industry we have not done our homework here enough. But at Zervicepoint we don't believe it should be a big project. It should actually be something like an alarm bell. If you are responsible for an organization and you need to start an improvement, project or an automation project, then you have something else to worry about. Automation and improvements should be as easy, so we as individuals or you as a team can do them by yourself. It should be part of the core, something you do every week, every month, every day. It shouldn't be a big project, because then you basically need to do it, then you make it too huge. So make automation part of your improvement routine and your team's everyday work. There are several more areas to think about. I'll come back to a few of them, and we will discuss more. Please discuss more with me today as well. What do you actually think is the number one thing to think about when it comes to business automation to make it outstanding? Okay, when we realize that automation will change us and redefine us, another area that we look into is, we call it "We as humans have the power." If you were at the Gartner event, there will be two words probably said. It would be consumerization, or they left that, but that is the huge thing that affects us at the moment, both as organization and as consumers, and it's also the democratization of everything. It means that we as individuals decide when we want to consume a service and how, and we want 24 access. That's what we used in the other world that's not at the office. So we as organizations need to realize that, and here we have two things. The first thing is we need to provide a do-it-yourself experience in everything. Here's where self-service comes in. And this is actually good. I don't know if you've thought about it, but here at Zervicepoint, we usually think about self-service as the third step or the third phase of improving your processes or the way you work. And if you follow me here, the first step is basically you have your manual process, then you digitize this. You put it in a so it's around the same time every time. There's still some manual parts, but digitizing is the first step. The second is to improve it, remove some, automate some, perhaps integrate them. And that's good, those two steps. If you want to scale your investment in that, then you sprinkle some self-service or do-it-yourself on top of it. And then you will actually scale all the investments you've done as an organization in the improvement in automations and integrations. But that actually isn't enough. There are so many organizations out there, us included, that, okay, I've done all my homework, I bought a system, I told everyone about it, it's do-it-yourself, you as users can do everything in it, no one is using it. What's wrong? And here's where many of us get it wrong. It's not a logistic journey, it's a pedagogical one to change the behavior of a human. So if I want you to actually do something different, I need to put myself in your shoes, see where you are to lead you in the right direction. You've probably been affected by this as well. Here's the new system, here's how to use it, and I don't even need it. So we need to realize that it's not a logistic journey to actually change the behavior. So slip into the shoes of your customer or your end users or employees and realize where they are before you actually set up a new system or implement your new way of working or your automations. Let's come back to the office. And this is something I'm personally intrigued by. Why do we settle for less when we get into the office? When I'm at home, I can sign up for almost any service in a digital way. I get presented with personalized information and also offers that reflects who I am. And I can do it so easy, it's like a one click away. Why can't I have that at work? Why is there a difference between me as a consumer and me as an employee? Why? It should be the same thing. Why do so many organizations struggle with providing a seamless digital service that makes me feel more like a human than a machine? In 2019, I mean, it's easier doing your taxes than actually starting a new job and being onboarded. There we have a homework to do, most definitely. And I'm actually even more curious because, as I told you before, we as humans have the power. And in a market where we can actually move, get a new job, we settle for this. And as an organization, we need to realize this, that if we don't do anything, because probably almost all big organizations at least probably have a must-win battle. We should keep the best. We need to hire the best. We need to find A players, etc. And all of them struggle with bringing in more benefits. Here you get a free gym card. Here you get your own barista at work. But so many disregard the power of providing a friction-free workday, where everything just runs smoothly. Imagine yourself, here you get the work, you get the benefits. How much would you actually trade off just to have a hassle-free workday? To sum it up, we talked about it's all about automation. That to the extent that we need to redefine ourselves. Automation shouldn't be a big project. There are several else big topics out there as well, and we as humans have the power, so we need to realize we need to provide a do-it-yourself experience, and it's a pedagogical journey, not a logistic one, to change the behavior. Our number one tip today for our organizations are that realize that providing a friction-free workday is a competitive edge. And my tip to you as humans or individuals is that don't settle for less at work. Why? And that does not only goes to the systems we're using. So I would like to say thank you for joining us. And of course, if you like this video, a thumbs up. And if it provided any value to you, please subscribe as well. And don't forget the bell icon to click that to get every notification possible. My name is Rickard. I'm part of this awesome gang, Team Zervicepoint. And as always, we love feedback, so comment in any form, just post an emoji, and it's okay to just give us a hug. A little human experience in this harsh digital world. Finally, in the end of the day, we are actually just a team who would like to make the world a little better place by providing a friction-free workday. So thank you, and from all of us to all of you, we love you. See you next time. Bye. Thank you.